Well, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, make sure to subscribe because the business themselves helps us out. Now, before we get into anything, I do want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, I did cut my hair. Did I film it? No. Should I have filmed it? Maybe. Did I want to be embarrassed on the internet? Maybe not, so that's why I didn't film it, but I did cut my hair. I did the best of my ability up here. I really didn't do a good job because obviously I'm not a hairstylist. I don't have as many hair tools as hairstylists have, but thankfully the hair salons are opening this week. That video is gonna come out tomorrow. But anyways, today's video is the video I have been wanting to do for the past 4+ years, and I've been waiting for this moment for the past 7 years. So today I am doing my album review on Lady Gaga's brand new pop record Chromatica, and I am so excited. There is a long list of things I want to get into. This probably might be the longest album review I've done, although as of now the longest album review I have done was for Taylor Swift's Reputation, and this is on her Reputation era, but it's definitely a huge comeback to the music industry, and we're gonna get into it all. We're gonna talk all things Chromatica. I'm gonna let you guys know my thoughts on the record, everything that went on, and sort of the build up and the journey to get to Chromatica, because it is a long journey to get to Chromatica. So with that being said, if you want to know my thoughts and want to know my overall rating of the record, then keep on watching. Also, just a little warning, if I'm talking weird today or anything, I have a canker sore in my tonsil. If you don't know what a canker sore is, do not look it up because you're not gonna like it, but let me just tell you, it has been horrible to eat, to drink, to swallow. It has just not been the best, but we're getting through it. Anyways, so Chromatica is the first pop record for the pop diva in the past 7 years. The last pop album she released was art pop. However, that's if you can consider art pop a pop record, because, you know, arguably it is an EDM record. So if we were to consider art pop an EDM record, her last pop record was in 2011 for Born This Way, but that's all subjective. And I will say that, you know, over the course of 7 years, you know, coming to this moment, it is a triumphant return to the dance floor, because for the past 7 years she's been away from the dance floor, and she's been away from the glitz and the glam and the wigs and the hair and makeup and the dramatic theatricals that come with her work. She's shied away from that for the past 7 years, and it definitely has been a long journey to get to Chromatica, a long journey full of so much self-discovery, so much self-exploration, getting to know who she is as a person, and also, I guess in a way, also doing a lot of damage control, because as much as I love the art pop era, it's one of my favorite records of hers, and I just truly admire it and love it for what it is, for what it was, and for the amount of just hysteria that there was with that record. I love it dearly still to this day. It also did damage her a lot, not just personally, but also as an artist. It damaged her a lot because a lot of people were starting to have a difficult time in taking her seriously. A lot of people just really didn't understand art pop. A lot of people felt like it was just too gimmicky. A lot of people felt like it was disingenuous and inauthentic, and it just created as much buzz as it did create. It created a lot of negative buzz as well, and it just wasn't good for her, and it really took a toll on her mentally and emotionally and physically, and as well, on top of that, being extremely overworked for the promotional schedule of art pop, and even after art pop, being extremely overworked with having very few break days, as we learned from the documents that were leaked. But it's true, it really took a huge toll on her, and from then on she pretty much quit pop music for a really long time, because after art pop came her record with Tony Bennett, Cheek to Cheek, then a little break for a year, and then what we felt was going to be the return to pop music, because that's what was being assumed from, you know, based on the people she was working with. I mean, she worked with Jojo Moroder, which is just, he's an iconic dance producer, and he's just incredible. He's just amazing. He's a legend. But that just didn't happen, and you know, she then started working with Mark Ronson, and then Joanne came out, which was obviously a huge departure from what Born This Way or art pop were, and it was less about, you know, going to the club and the dance floor and really just dancing through your pain, and more about facing your pain, facing your past, facing what is in front of you, facing what you have been trying to avoid, and, you know, looking at it head on and taking it on, and either being content with it or dealing with it and fighting it. And that's what Joanne was. And then after that, we felt, okay, Joanne came out, next record is gonna be a pop record. Then A Star Is Born came out, and A Star Is Born, while it did have some, you know, pop songs, it was mainly a singer-songwriter stripped back look for her. It wasn't much about the theatrics, it wasn't much about, you know, the over-the-top, what's the word? The over-the-topness, I'll just say that, the over-the-topness that comes with her work. It was stripped back. It was a singer-songwriter look. It was a little bit less her and a little bit more her playing a character, which is obviously what the film was. But, you know, within that, it was 7 years of no pop music from her. And also on top of that, as I mentioned with the art pop era, a lot of her personal struggles that she was dealing with became a little bit more public during the span of 7 years. And on top of that, you know, she also has been dealing with fibromyalgia, which is awful. It could be debilitating to a lot of people, and, you know, that could easily have been something that prevented her from ever going into pop music ever again. But I'm sure she has the best people at her hand. I'm sure she has the best care to take care of her with that. But it became very public, and a lot of her personal struggles became very, very public during the span of 7 years. And that was a long journey. And now we're here, 2020, and Chromatica came out, and we were made more aware of those personal issues through Chromatica. And I think, you know, I just want to say this for Chromatica. It is a thrill ride from start to finish. It is a thrill ride. It is a record that cannot be heard on shuffle. That's just, she said it herself, I'm saying it too. Do not hear this record on shuffle. You better hear this record from Chromatica 1 all the way to Babylon, because it is a thrill ride, it is a journey, it is a conceptual record from start to finish. And that is what I have been yearning in the music industry, and very few people deliver on that yearning of a conceptual record, because that is what I'm into. I love hearing conceptual records, I love making conceptual records. I love it when a record tells a story from start to finish, and that is exactly what Chromatica delivers on. It is a story from start to finish. Dare I say, this record is purposeful pop. Now, I will be honest, when, you know, she announced the title of the record, and when she announced a little bit of the concept of the record, I felt misguided by the record. Now listening to it and now diving in deeper into the record, I kind of felt misled and misguided by it, because with a title like Chromatica, what I anticipated and what I expected from this record was more of her building a whole world. A record of just truly building a whole world and letting us into a brand new world. Similar to what art pop did, you know, letting us into a whole new world, into a whole new exploration, to a whole new journey, and, you know, really just cementing us in this world and having everything sort of revolve around the world of Chromatica. But in reality, what this record is not so much building a new world, it's her perspective on the world that we live in right now. And I think that's really interesting, and it's definitely something I did not expect from this record. This record is her most cohesive body of work since Born This Way. I think I keep going back to Art Pop because that's the last pop record she came out with, but, you know, it was very impactful. Art Pop, as much as I love it, was it cohesive? No. Was there a general concept to it? Kind of. Not really, but the last truly cohesive body of work she came out with was Born This Way. It was cohesive from start to finish. There was a story from start to finish, and Chromatica just delivers on that story from start to finish. Also, some of the best collaborations of her career are in Chromatica with, you know, special guests like Ariana Grande, Blackpink, and Elton John. Those 3 collaborations are incredible. They are stunning. They are incredible. They were delivered perfectly. I think the delivery of lyrics with each collaboration was incredible and was amazing. It truly feels like a collaboration. It feels like a duet, and it doesn't just feel like a feature. That's why none of the records say, you know, Rain on Me featuring Ariana Grande. It's Rain on Me, Lady Gaga, and Ariana Grande. Same with Sarah Candy. Sarah Candy is Lady Gaga and Blackpink and so on and so forth. And it truly does feel like a collaboration. It feels like there was a collaborative effort between these two, well, these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 artists. It feels like there was a true collaboration within these artists to create this song. It wasn't so much, okay, I wrote this, sing it. Okay, I wrote this, sing it. It was more like, you know, let's get together, let's make a song, all of us together, and I absolutely love that, and I absolutely admire that a lot. Also, I will say that this is also a sonically cohesive body of work, and what I mean by that is that almost all of the songs follow a same wavelength, they follow a similar sound, they follow a similar rhythm to it, which at times can make songs very, very repetitive. I've reviewed albums in the past which are sonically cohesive, but at some point they start becoming very, very repetitive. And that is not the case with Chromatica. They all are sonically cohesive. They follow a certain rhythm, a certain flow, but they don't sound repetitive. They don't sound like she's singing the same song with different lyrics. And that is what I admire, and that just goes to show the level of her artistry, that goes to show the genius of her work, and I absolutely respect that. I will say this is also her most conceptual work since Art Pop. It was her most cohesive work since Born This Way, but her most conceptual work since Art Pop, because neither Cheek to Cheek or Joanne or A Star Is Born are conceptual. And Art Pop definitely had a concept. It was a conceptual record, and this record just delivers on that, on being a conceptual body of work. There was a concept behind it with a story to tell from start to finish. And I will say that a lot of artists, when they make a back to roots album, it's mainly, you know, the people who were country artists. The people who were in country music are the people that make back to roots record, or people who were born in places where country music is very prevalent. However, that is not the case with Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's roots are embedded in disco and pop and the club and, you know, dancing and electronic, and this is exactly a back to roots record for her. Joanne could have been seen in that if she was, you know, like a small town girl from like Tennessee, or like a small town girl from Wichita, Kansas, but no, she is from New York, and in New York, disco, dance, glam, the club, all of that is what is prevalent. Therefore, this is a back to roots record. And I will say that any song in this record could have been a single. Now, do I think she made a wise choice of making Stupid Love the single? Absolutely. I think that was the best way to introduce this era. I think that was the best way to, you know, start giving people a taste of Chromatica. I think if she had added Rain on Me as the first single for the record, would have been incredible as well. It would have done great. It would have probably done even better than Stupid Love. That's not to say that Stupid Love didn't do well. It did really well. It was her first top 5 hit since The Edge of Glory, and that has been a very, very long time. And so I think any song in this record could have been the best introduction to Chromatica. Every song, I think, except Sign From Above. I probably would have been a little bit let down if she did Sign From Above as the first single, because it is the craziest song on the record, and it is the most explosive song on the record. So, you know, my own philosophy on, you know, what kind of songs should be the first single and what kind of songs should be put on the album, my philosophy on that is put a song that you feel is gonna create buzz as the first single, but leave the most explosive songs and the craziest songs as part of the record, because then you'll be able to attract your audience and you'll be able to give them an idea as to what is coming from the record, but you still have something even bigger, even better, even more crazier planned out in the record when the record comes out. And I think she did an incredible job with that. And some of my standout songs from this record are Alice, 9/11, Plastic Doll, Enigma, Sign From Above, and Babylon. Now, for Babylon, I thought we were gonna get the House Labs version. I really did think we were gonna get the version that was being leaked. We were gonna get the version that was in the trailer. We were getting the version that she was dancing to at the House Labs party. But the reality was that we got a completely different version of Babylon that sounds nothing like the quote-unquote leaks or the instrumental from House Labs, although Blood Pop has confirmed already that there is a second version of Babylon coming out with the House Labs instrumental, which we are all very, very excited about. That was the version that a lot of people were anticipating, especially on Twitter. So many people were hoping and anticipating for Babylon to come out because they just fell so in love with the instrumentals. I did too. I was expecting that version to come out, and then you know, as Europe and Australia started to get the record, people were saying, yeah, that version of Babylon is not the one on the record. So then I was a little bit let down and also confused and also curious as to what was going to come out on the record. And what came out was incredible and was amazing, and dare I say it is an ode to a certain song from the 90s that was also as prevalent as Babylon probably will be in the upcoming years. Overall, I give this record a rating of 10 out of 10. Dare I say this record is her magnum opus of all of her work, although that could be debated with Born This Way, because both of those records are just incredible and they're just phenomenal and they're just fascinating, and this record is equally as phenomenal and as fascinating. And the one fear I had with this record, and I guess my one complaint with this record, is that the songs, when the track length came out for every single song, I was a bit worried because every song is significantly shorter than what she normally puts out. I mean, with Born This Way, we got like 4-minute mega pop bangers that were just so intricate and just so full of beautiful and juicy lyrics, and the production and everything, and they were so long, and you know, it just felt like time went by so quickly, even with a 5-minute song. I mean, I'm used to her releasing these really long 4 to 5 minute pop bangers, but with this record the average song is about 3 minutes and 20 seconds. So I was a bit scared that the record might have not been good if the songs were like at most length 3 minutes and 10 seconds, but she did deliver regardless of the fact. And I feel like, you know, with records that are this short, I sometimes feel like when the record is over, I have this fear that, you know, I feel the need for more. I feel like this wasn't it. I feel like, you know, maybe there's more to tell that maybe the record label or she herself didn't want to put in it, but that was definitely not the case with Chromatica. I felt complete. I felt whole. I felt like everything that needed to be said with this record was said, was sung, was created, and was put into the record. And I think that is the sign of an incredible record. With that being said, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a massive thumbs up and comment down below your thoughts on Chromatica. If you've heard it, if you haven't heard it, are you planning on hearing it? And as well, subscribe, because the best and themselves helps us out. Come back tomorrow, because tomorrow we have a very special video in regards to retail stores opening. Yes, I've got a lot to say, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.